But at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them. You know, when Paul wrote, this church was the first Gentile church that was planted in Europe. Paul loved these people. It was a very special church to Paul. And Paul wrote a letter to the Philippians. And when he wrote to them, he was in another prison, chained to a Roman guard, yet he said he was thankful and full of joy, and he thought about his time with the people at Philippi, and he told them that his imprisonment was for the advance of the gospel. In Philippians 4:11, he said, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content." Paul's life, his suffering, all the things that he walked through, God used in his life to teach him how to be content. And he understood some things. And all of you need to understand this, because you must understand the sovereignty of God. Have a good sense of the sovereignty of God, that all things work together for good to them that love Him, who are the called according to His purpose. You have to not be caught up in the things of this world, to be content with just a few things and not worry about the world and having more and more. And you cannot allow your circumstances to dictate your attitude. You got to go high. You got to go into the heavenlies. You have to go to the throne of grace and obtain mercy and find help in your time of need from the Lord Jesus Christ. And you need divine enablement. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you need divine truth. And these are the things that feed your trust. Now, if these things are not in your life, you're not going to sing at midnight. You're not going to be worried about the advance of the gospel. You're not going to be worried about the glory of God. All you're going to be worrying about is yourself and the injustice of life, and maybe shaking your fist at God, arguing with God, or whatever. But I think about it. If I was in prison and I started singing, what do you think I would hear? Shut up! Trying to sleep in here. Shut up! Probably be cussing you, calling everything in the world. But these guys were listening. You know why they were listening? Because they were condemned men. They were in a midnight too, and they had no hope. And there was something in the prayers, there was something in the song that was in the Spirit. And I'm telling you, perhaps many of you can relate with this. There's prayers, there's praying, and then there's prayers, and there's praying. And when the release of the Spirit comes, there's no distance between you and the throne of God. Something changes. And not only do you know it, but people around you know it. And these people were amazed. Nobody was yelling, "Shut up," because they knew about these men. And remember, this is at midnight. Knowing Paul, he was probably witnessing to them all during the other hours. But he had their attention, him and Silas both, and they're listening. And I want you to know, there are many people out there that are in their midnight. And the problem is, they don't see an ounce of difference as to how many Christians respond to their midnights. But grace is available to us. The presence of God is available to us. And I can tell you what God did for Paul and Silas, He'll do for us too. He'll meet us where we are.